All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages. How to help your wife feel safe in your Christian marriage. So if your wife's saying she doesn't feel safe or she's kind of pulling away from you, part of that's because she doesn't feel safe. So we're going to talk about how to help her feel safe, and that builds trust, which lets you have better communication, better intimacy in your marriage. So my name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach, and I help high-achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So some wins from guys in my program, the Strong Men, Strong Marriages program. Guys are having increased sexual intimacy. A lot of guys come in because they're kind of feel more like roommates, kind of get stuff done, but there's no real like intimacy. The physical piece is gone. So guys are bringing that back to their marriage. Guys are having improved relationships with their children. And this is a big benefit. Like when you learn how to communicate better, how to build trust in relationships like that, doesn't just affect your marriage, it affects your relationship with your kids, with coworkers, with siblings, with friends, all of that. As part of the program, we do an apology letter, which is a very emotionally difficult thing to do. But man, when guys do it, it resets the relationship, creates just huge wins. It's a big element of some of the stuff we're talking about today, how to build safety in your marriage. Guys are watching shows together with their night, holding hands in bed, getting more hugs, kisses, right? Having that flirtation back. A lot of guys that kind of apply to join the program, that's one of the things they say they want, and guys are getting that through the program. So for me, this week, I've done a lot better job of listening to my wife as she speaks. I've been kind of writing things down as she's talking. That helps me not get as emotionally activated, and it helps me remember the stuff that she says too. So just a little tip there, a little tool you guys can use if you're trying to do a better job listening to your wife. So right now, your wife might be telling you directly that she doesn't feel safe. Just, hey, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. So if she's calling you narcissistic, she's calling you mean, uncaring, unloving, right? Basically, that's another way for her to say that she's not feeling safe. This also sounds like I need space. Why does she need space? She needs space because she doesn't feel safe or attracted, right? She's saying, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Okay. The attraction's kind of gone. But also, like that distance, I want you guys to see that distance as, hey, I don't feel particularly safe. You don't listen. Okay. This is a big one, which can sound just like an accusation, but really, if you can see that as like, I don't feel safe, right? You don't listen. I don't feel emotionally safe with you or mentally safe with you. I don't feel like a priority. I don't feel like you take care of my heart, right? I don't feel like I can trust my heart with you. My heart's not safe with you. Okay. I want a separation or divorce. Okay. So there the safety definitely isn't there. The communication definitely isn't there. The intimacy isn't there if she's saying that. So she can be saying those things, but it can also look certain ways. Maybe she's not directly saying she doesn't feel safe, but if there's more of that like roommate type feeling in the marriage, basically what that means is she doesn't feel safe to share her heart with you, right? Maybe you lost your temper a lot. Maybe you done mosquito cycle a lot. Maybe you're really needy for her attention and appreciation and affection. And that has kind of worn on her over time, that she doesn't feel safe with you. She feels like you're trying to suck off attention, appreciation, affection, sex. You're a mosquito, right? Maybe there's just lack of deep conversations. Okay. Because again, she just doesn't feel safe sharing with you. If you're that mosquito, she doesn't want to say anything that might be taken as offensive to you because you fly off the handle. You don't manage your emotions well or release your emotions in a healthy way, is the way I like to phrase that now. Lack of physical connection. Okay. So the way that marriages build is first trust and safety, right? She starts feeling safe. Okay, like this is a guy who handles himself. He's strong. He takes care of his own emotions, his own thoughts. He doesn't, he's not needy on me for his self-worth, right? So then she starts feeling safe with you, and then she starts sharing things with you, sharing her heart with you, right? And then she starts sharing her body with you, right? So lack of physical connection means there's lack of mental emotional connection and lack of safety typically. Okay, so again, like for her to want to talk to you, she needs to feel safe. For her to trust her body with you, she needs to feel safe. She needs to have that mental emotional connection. For her to want to connect with you, to be intimate with you in all these ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it is a requirement that she feels safe first, right? Or at least it's got to be way easier. She may just share it with you anyway because she's strong enough to share it with you, even if you're not like able to handle it. Sometimes it has to be that way. But when you are able to handle it, Okay, it's much easier for her to share her heart and her mind and eventually her body with you too. Okay. Here's what you understand. She doesn't feel safe. Why? Okay. What's the opposite of feeling safe? The opposite of feeling safe is feeling, unsafe, but afraid. Okay. Feeling safe and afraid are opposites. Okay. So what are people afraid of? People are afraid when they get hurt. Okay. So she doesn't feel safe because you have hurt her in some way. That's what's going on. You've hurt her in some way. Okay. So probably it's not physically. I mean, if it's physical, it's pretty obvious, right? If you're punching your wife, well, first of all, like go get some help. Um, and yeah, get some help for that. 1-800 the hotline, or the hotline.org is a good place for that. But most of us, that's not where we're at, right? However, if you did have a physical affair, understand like you could have potentially hurt your wife by getting an STD and passing it on to her. Okay. So understand, like, yeah, if there was a physical affair, not only is that super damaging and hurtful mentally and emotionally, but also potentially physically. So understand that that's a real thing. But how have you hurt her, for example, mentally? So one way is by not listening to her, okay? By not prioritizing her, by acting like your ideas are better than hers, by treating her like an object instead of a person. An object, sexually is a good way to look at it. So object is either a vehicle, an obstacle, or irrelevant. So sexually, you can treat your wife like a vehicle, like, okay, she's how I'm going to get an orgasm and feel good about myself. So like that's how I'm using her sexually. Or she's an obstacle. Oh, she's not going to give me the orgasm. She's not going to help me feel good about myself. So she's an obstacle. She's in the way. So now I'm mad, right? Or irrelevant. So then you turn to pornography or other women, right? So, you can do that in lots of other ways too, but sexually is just a good example of that, about feeling good about yourself. Oh, she doesn't give me enough compliments, right? She's she's either a vehicle, she's supposed to give me compliments. She's an obstacle because she doesn't, or she's irrelevant. Well, I'm going to find someone else who will give me compliments, right? So just understand this stuff, it does hurt her. Okay. When you don't listen, that hurts her. When you don't prioritize her, that hurts her. When you act superior to her, that hurts her. Um, you know, when you treat her like an object, that hurts her, right? Emotionally, again, like not listening, blaming her for things. Well, it's your fault that I had an affair because you weren't listening to me enough. Or pornography, emotional affairs, losing your temper with her or with the kids. Like that's one that I didn't really understand how much damage that does until my wife really was clear with me about it. But yeah, like it makes sense. Like if you're looking for safety in a marriage, if you're losing your temper, like even if you haven't been physical with the kids or with her, you're bigger, you're stronger, you could physically injure them. And so when your temper gets out of control, like yeah, that can be scary. Okay. And make her feel unsafe and make the kids feel unsafe. Okay. And if the kids feel unsafe, if your wife feels like you're unsafe with the kids, she does not really feel safe with you either, for sure. Okay. So all these things, they basically, while they may not hurt her body, they hurt her heart. Okay. And so when something gets hurt by someone, we protect it from them. So you've hurt her heart. So now she's protecting her heart from you. Okay. She's closing her heart off from you. It's like getting bit by a dog. Okay. You're going to fear that dog for a long time. So I've shared on here before, I got bit by a dog when I was 10, 11, somewhere around there. And I'm still afraid of Rottweilers. That's the kind of dog that bit me. If I see one, it's just like, whoa, okay, keep some distance from that dog. So because it hurt me, right? And so I want to protect myself from that. So it's hard to see this, but when you have hurt your wife mentally, emotionally over time, yeah, she's going to protect her heart from you. She's going to distance her heart from you. Okay. So just understand that. Okay. Now, guys, what they'll try to do is just kind of talk her out of it. Oh, hey, yeah, I hurt you in those ways, but look, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm different now. Or look, that was a long time ago. I haven't done that in a long time. Look, your brain remembers pain. Our brains and bodies, they're set up to remember injury and pain to keep us safe, right? To keep us alive. So when you're like, oh no, it was a long time ago, and maybe she's even like, yeah, that was a long time ago, but it still bothers me. It's still going to bother her, right? And just understand that. So telling her to get over it, hey, just get over it, right? I'm different now. Minimize it. It wasn't that big a deal. It's not like I ever hit you or anything like that. Okay. Or maybe you make some changes, but then you get frustrated when she doesn't see them. No, like I haven't lost my temper in a long time. Look, I've been listening for a long time, right? So when you take this approach with your wife, right, it makes her protect her heart even more. So I think I've shared on here like the past little while, my wife and I have been getting into more arguments, and it's because like I've been doing some of this stuff, right? Trying to talk her out of things, minimizing stuff I've done, that sort of thing. And so even today, like we had a really good talk the other day where I did a much better job listening, and like writing it down helped a lot. And so that was just like a few days ago. And then my wife was like, look, these next couple weeks are going to be really busy for me. Can we just not get into those fights where we're arguing and getting our tempers up and all that? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm why would you think I would do that? Like, I'm different now, I've got a new strategy. And so I kind of did this exact thing of saying, like, try to talk her out of it, try to minimize it, just like tell her I'm different, instead of, what we're going to talk about, which is getting into her pain and then just showing things over time, right? Agreeing with her. Yeah, like, you're right. It has just been a little bit of time. I have to earn your trust back over time. I'm cool with that. Yeah, a couple weeks. Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, that would have been a much better answer. And in fact, I probably need to go say that to her in just a minute here. But look, when you try to convince her logically or change her mind, she's going to dig in more. Okay, it's like a tug of war. So if she's like, "Look, you hurt me," and you're like, "No, I didn't," or she's like, "You hurt me," and you're like, "Oh, that was a long time ago." It's like you're pulling on different sides of the rope. And so when you pull more, she's going to pull more. She's going to dig in more to her opinion. Well, look, there you go again. You're hurting me again. You're not listening again, which is true. You're actually not listening to her if you're trying to, tell her she's wrong, basically. Um, the other thing is, like, when you try to pry her heart out, she's going to grab onto it more. Like, talk to me, just share your heart with me, right? She's going to actually like close in more. There's a parable in Aesop's fables about the sun and the wind. So there's this guy that has a jacket on, and a jacket's a good analogy, right? Like a wife who's protecting her heart from you. It's like she has this jacket on, right? And so the wind and the sun kind of make this bet. Like, okay, let's see who can get this guy's jacket off. So the wind comes in, he starts blowing, 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 hard, hard, hard. But the guy, right, just grabs onto his coat harder, like won't let the wind blow it off. And so you're being like the wind when you try to convince her, right? When you try to tell her she's wrong, all of that. Okay. Then the sun's like, okay, it's my turn. So the sun comes out, he just like blasts heat, right? And then the guy just takes his coat off on his own because it's hot out. So you're being like the sun when you be someone that's easy to share her heart with, when you're someone that is listening, who is prioritizing her, right? She has to take that jacket off on her own. She has to take that coat off on her own. That's the only way this works long term. And the way that you help her do that is by being, and when we're talking about Christian faith, like the Son of God, right? When we're being more like Christ, that lets her open her heart up more to you. Okay. So what do you need to do instead? So step one is go into her pain. So I'll just use this example from this morning, right? So when I was saying, hey, like, please don't fight with me these next couple of weeks. I'm really busy, right? So we want to go into that pain. So it's a paradox, but it's what lets healing begin. Okay. And when you really see how you've hurt her mentally and emotionally, okay. Now this is hard because it hurts to see that you've hurt someone you love, right? And that's why a lot of times we avoid it because we don't want to see in ourselves, oh geez, yeah, I have been someone who's hurt my wife. But it's a paradox when you actually admit that and see it, it lets her trust you more. Okay. So when she said, hey, can you not fight with me this week? It would have been better for me to say, hey, you're right. You know what? I have hurt you by losing my temper, by not listening. Makes sense. You want to protect yourself. Okay, that would have been a better way to go into her pain. Okay. So again, make it about her, not you. So a bad example there would have been for me to say something like, yeah, well, it's hard on me too that you just keep bringing up my problems. And this is what I had been doing for like the past few weeks, making it about her instead of about me. And which is, look, maybe I'm right, maybe she's right, but the point is, it doesn't create safety, it doesn't create connection if we're just going back and forth, who's right, who's wrong, who's the bigger victim, right? It doesn't go anywhere productive. So don't make it about yourself. Well, you shouldn't have done this, right? Go into her pain. Yeah, I did hurt you. Sorry, that must be really painful. So, because when she sees that you actually recognize that you hurt her, that's the beginning of her feeling safe. My wife's like, you just need to like acknowledge that you've hurt me. I had a hard time hearing that for a while, but I'm doing a better job now, I feel like. So if you don't even recognize that you hurt her, how can she believe that you won't hurt her again? You have to recognize it. You have to recognize, yeah, that is hurtful. So again, coming back to this example, it's a good one, right? Can you please not fight with me? Hey, look, yeah, the way that it's not that we should avoid conflict altogether, but the way that I had been going about that, basically blaming you, losing my temper, getting mad. Yeah, like that was hurtful, and that would make you feel unsafe, right? So when I share it like that, now she's like, oh, okay, yeah. Now I can start believing maybe things will be different because he can see that he's doing something that's a problem. So that's number one, right? And number two, so you acknowledge what you've done wrong, what's a problem, get into her pain, and then change the behavior. Okay. That's what you have to do. So if you had a hard time listening, start listening better. If you had a hard time seeing her as an equal, start seeing her as an equal. If you had an affair, share passwords to regain trust. Okay, learn to manage your temper better, or learn to release emotions in a healthy way. When you get mad, name it, breathe, feel, release it. Right, get out of there, do something to release that anger. So if you were if you're the dog that bit her, now you're being the friendly, the happy dog, right? And so she's still going to be wary. Is this dog going to bite me again? If I do something that used to upset him, is he going to get upset again? She's going to be wary, right? And she's going to test it, whether consciously or unconsciously. Okay, well, let's see. If I bring something up that used to make him mad in the past, is he still going to get mad? Is he still going to bite me? Right? You just have to prove, no, I'm not. And then over time, she's going to say, okay, yeah, this is a safe dog again. I can pet it. I can be around it, right? The dog example, just because the dog bite, not that you're like her dog, right? You need to get to a place where you guys are both equal. But very important, as the man in the relationship, you want to provide safety. Okay, be the protector. You're not a protector if you're hurting her. Okay, that's what you got to understand. So overall, be a more Christ-like man. Be loving. Follow the Beatitudes, right? Bless them that curse you, love them that hate you, right? That's what Christ asks us to do. So, if we can do that, then we're inviting, right? We're a safe place. So over time, she'll start to feel safe again, but it does take time. She's scared. She has been hurt. So you have to show over time that you're a safe choice for her and that you're a safe person. So, and again, this is useful to reiterate. So to my wife, again, like this morning, I could have said, hey, yeah, I can agree to that. Not to get in those fights like the way we have, where it is blaming you and acting in that hurtful way, for sure, right? And you're going to have to see that over time to believe it. Okay. So then she's like, okay, yeah, he gets it. Now he can kind of feel safe, and now just follow through on it. Okay. Because when she feels safe, she's going to open up more mentally and emotionally. Now, the hard part is sometimes initially that means she's going to share more of her hurt with you. So you're like, yeah, I have hurt you in the past. Yeah, and you hurt me this way and this way and this way and this way, right? But what you have to understand is that is her opening her heart. That is her sharing her heart with you. And so you being able to listen, get into her shoes, understand your pain, acknowledge you've hurt her, that's the start of healing. Okay. We talk about it sometimes like an infection, like you've hurt her, like you cut her, right? But then over time, when you've tried to minimize and all that, it's like kind of closing up a wound that's infected. So when you start letting her open that wound a little bit, yeah, sometimes it has to drain. Sometimes she has to tell you lots of things you've done that have hurt her. But that's what allows healing to begin. Okay. So she lets the hard stuff out, and then she starts sharing more of the fun stuff. Hey, here's something fun that happened. Hey, here's what I'm thinking about. Here's what I'm feeling, right? Here's what I'm nervous about. Okay. So even kind of tracking back to my own marriage, my wife did that just this morning, right? She asked me, hey, like, let's not fight. But also before that, she shared a lot of things she's struggling with, that she's overwhelmed. She's got a lot going on at the end of the year with kids and all that. So she was sharing her heart with me. I did a decent job listening. Probably could have done a little better. But yeah, so she's starting to share more things. She shared something funny with me right before that. So what that tells me is, yeah, she is feeling safer emotionally, right? And then when she starts feeling safer emotionally, she's open up mentally, emotionally with you. Then she's going to open up more physically with you. Okay, typically that's the pattern that it follows. Okay, so my wife and I, we hugged after, right, and let her know I was there for her and that kind of thing. So, in summary, safety is the first step to create an intimate marriage. Okay, it's trust. And what trust really is, that you're going to keep her heart and her body safe, that you're not going to hurt her, okay? That you're going to keep her safe. You're going to protect her. Okay. So what do you have to do to do that? First, you have to recognize and acknowledge how you have hurt her. And again, that's hard, but it is necessary. Okay. And then you need to make the changes that you need to make so that she can see over time, okay, like, yeah, this dog's not going to bite me again. Or yeah, this guy is going to be different. He is somebody that I can trust. It's going to take time to earn that. Get into her pain, let her share her pain, acknowledge it, and then show over time you're going to be different. So easy to say, but like you need some strategies in place and some tools to do this. So if you come join Strong Men, Strong Marriages, you're going to learn exactly how to do this. Okay, you're going to have daily work. It's very prescribed, it's very formulaic, and it works. Okay, to make the changes to rebuild trust, communication, and intimacy. You can listen to this podcast all day or other podcasts or read lots of books, but if you don't implement it and implement it in a way that your brain actually works, okay, to create lasting habit change, okay, it's not going to take, right? It's not going to work for you. So you need to plug into something that's going to actually do the work. Like your brain has to rewire. It's like if you're trying to get a stronger body, like you could listen to podcasts about exercise, but if you don't go do the exercise, you're not going to have the results. So it's a little bit trickier with mental and emotional strength building and communication skill building. It's tougher to know exactly what to do, but we show you exactly what to do in the program. The strategies that are going to work to rewire your brain, to release your emotions effectively, to communicate well, to rebuild your self-esteem, build it, your self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, right? So you're that strong man that's attractive, and then teach you those communication intimacy skills so you can have a great marriage. So we put it all in one place and then have you practice it, right? And we give you feedback so you get better and your brain rewires and you create strength in yourself and you create a strong marriage. So you restore attraction, you restore connection, and you set that great example for generations to follow. You're the man you want to be, all in line with Christian principles, setting that example to your kids, being the man that your wife wants to be around and is going to open her mind and her body too, because you're a safe place who protects her and connects with her and has fun and brings intimacy and fun and passion. So if that's something you want, come to strongmen.io or visit the link in the show notes. You click on apply to join. You're going to have a call with me and my team. There's a few questions you're going to fill out prior to that call so that we can make the most use of that call. So if you're a high achieving Christian man who's ready to go, ready to put some time and some money into creating a great marriage, come join us, right? Come join us. We're going to help you do it. Visit strongman.io or visit the link in the show notes and we'll talk soon. All right, stay strong, men. We'll see you next episode.